So when I was diagnosed, I didn't know anything about diabetes, but I had every symptom you could imagine, just checking the boxes. And went to see my internist who, listened to me for about a minute and a half, gave me a little, at the time, urine test, and said, "You need to go to the ER right now. I'll come see you there later." And after I checked in, they did all sorts of blood work, and I'm sitting there, and I know I have diabetes, but I have no idea what it meant. And the attending came in, and he said, "Mr. Alter, I'm surprised you're conscious."
Doctor said, it's a miracle he's not unconscious, and it's a miracle he's not dead. And it was incredibly frightening because it just absolutely pulled the rug out from under both of us. And being so young yet being adults, this wasn't what we had really counted on happening.
24/7, 365, I'm a diabetic, which means I've got to watch what I eat, I've got to watch what happens with my sugars, I've got to watch my exercise, I've got to watch my stress levels. There's a whole other set of things that I've got to balance and deal with.
As in everything that he does in his life, Michael took it head on. And he made a conscious decision that he wasn't going to let it control him. He was going to try and do the best he could to control it. There were definitely periods as he was trying new medical treatments and new types of insulins and new monitors where we always had a bout of trial and error. I think for a lot of people that could be really scary. They don't want to try something new once they get control of a certain medical treatment. But I think that's where Michael's definitely demonstrated in a very brave fashion that you constantly have to try and make your life better and try these new and different forms of technology. And thankfully, through the efforts of a JDRF, there's tremendous funding being put forth so that it constantly is evolving. The treatments that are available to make a diabetic have as normal a life as they possibly can.
I travel a fair amount, and one of the things I always worry about is I'm going to go to bed tonight in this hotel room with my door bolted so nobody can come in, and I have a low blood sugar that I don't wake up from. And I don't spend a lot of time worrying about it, but it's really something that you always have to think about. And so to me, a simple step towards a cure is a thing like this blood glucose monitor. Because when my sugars go low in the middle of the night and there's nobody else here, this thing at least is my friend. And it starts beeping and it tells me I need to do something. And the more we can do those kind of things on the path towards a cure, I think the better off we'll be.
Almost everyone knows someone who's affected. I mean, I know my dad, there are kids in my grade who I know. And I think that one day even that if any of my brothers or I have kids, our kids may have it. And even we could get diagnosed later on in life.
I'm extra sensitive about my kids, and that whenever there's a symptom that might be diabetes related, I'm confident that they're diabetic. And so if one of them drinks 2 glasses of water at dinner, it's not because they're just thirsty and just came in from playing football. I'm convinced it's because they're showing early signs of diabetes. And so we'll go upstairs and I'll make them prick their finger and check. I'm extra sensitive about what does that mean and what are the implications for that, and sort of running through all those scenarios about how that would change their lives going forward. And then I think the other thing for me, and it's not something I dwell on, but there are complications that I can have from this disease, no matter how good my cure, my control is. And so I want to be around for them. I'd love to meet my grandkids. Assuming I'm lucky enough to have them. And so that's really important to me. And so taking care and making sure that we can fund a cure to allow people to live longer, to be healthier, so that we can see that is important.
I got involved with JDRF shortly after Alex's diagnosis. I had been very active with another not-for-profit organization. And as my term was coming to an end after 12 years of having been involved there, I was on a girls' weekend with my mother and my sister. And as we laid on the beach, we talked about what I would do next. And 3 days later, Alex was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it became apparent what the next step would be.
It was a complete shock. I can remember to this day laying down on the couch while she was sitting in the chair, and I was laying down on the examining couch trying to recover.
It wasn't for a few hours till I got the phone call. I was in an all-day conference, funny enough, learning how to do fundraising for not-for-profits. I was driving home, and Jay finally reached me. I looked at my phone, I saw that I had 37 missed calls. He told me to pull over the car because he had some news to give me, which he did. And the good news was I had pulled over because I heard news that day when Alex was diagnosed like nothing I had ever heard before.
Boy, at the time of first diagnosis, I don't know that I really even thought about the long term. It's more immediate. What is wrong? What's happening? How's my child impacted? What does this mean today? But certainly as time progresses, you begin to look at it in a longer term way, and it's scary. It's just flat out scary.
I was just going through the motions. I knew that I had to test my blood. I knew I had to count carbs. I knew I had to take shots. At this point, it's a little bit scarier just because I'm fully aware of, what 400, my blood sugar at 400 means. And, it's not just that I feel a little bit sick or really sick, it's, my livelihood.
Why is your child feeling bad today? Why does your child have to be taken out of the game because she's weak at this particular moment? Why does your child, not feel well in the morning? Why does your child not able to eat all the things the other kids are able to eat? But as they grow older, the parenting I don't think is any easier, because as a child transitions into adulthood, those pressures of fitting in and being able to keep up and being successful, those pressures mount more and more and more. And so the added strain of providing support and making sure your child's in a position to succeed is definitely more difficult as the child gets older.
It's really just upsetting to have to work 20 times harder, to just feel okay. It's not even to feel good, it's just to, be able to stand up or go to work or go to class. And I think as an adult, I've started to realize that more.
The emotional impact of the disease, I think, is way understated. It is a tremendous burden to not feel well on a regular basis. That has impact on everyday existence. Everybody's used to getting up and having a big sunny day and a big smile on your face. When you get up 4 or 5 times a week and you don't feel well, having done nothing wrong, that's an incredible burden. It's not just about possible amputations or being weak or heart disease. Those things are out there somewhere, but every day that child feels the impact of this disease, and for the rest of us, we can't possibly imagine what that's like.
Type 1 diabetes is something that affects the entire family, not just the person with type 1 diabetes. Although the rest of us will never know what it feels like to be low or to be high or to have these great swings between being low and high. It certainly impacts everybody. The worry factor, the making sure there are enough supplies, to make sure the supplies are there at the right time in the right place. And we all worry every day and every night.
It's not just Michael who has diabetes, but it's our whole family, our extended relatives, all of our friends. We're all managing diabetes together with him. And I would imagine that in most families that it's that same situation. It's not just that one person, it's how this disease can alter everyone's lifestyles.
I think that our involvement in JDRF stems from a desire to really put an end to a disease that has a dramatic impact not only on my family and certainly not only on my daughter Alex, but on every member of the family. It's a very, very difficult disease. Even when you do your best and you keep up with all your testing and your taking of insulin, it's still complicated, and the body is not always responsive in the way that you would like, and that leads many times to feelings of why me. And as you as a father and try to manage that, you realize that others are feeling that same thing.
I have just been absolutely overwhelmed with the drive and the passion and just the level of commitment that JDRF has put forth in trying to find a better way to treat diabetes and to find a cure. And And in as much as it is the sheer intellect and the science behind it, and there's just an incredible team of doctors who are working in that vein, I think even more importantly, it's the power of the families behind JDRF. You know, their commitment to, you know, trying to improve the lives of their own loved ones or friends who have diabetes, but it's as much the commitment to trying to help other families who they don't even know. But they share that one common theme, which is diabetes has impacted their lives, has impacted their families, has impacted their friends and their family members.